It's Friday, March 4th, 2022, and this is a special supplement. I'd like to welcome all the new visitors and subscribers that have come along in the last, month or 5 weeks. We want to get you caught up with the rest of us on the Master Journal, if that's what you would like to do, and this episode will alter a book and get you pretty well caught up to the rest of us, except for the individual projects. So let's go. So we're going to use a regular book, hardcover book. We want it to be at least 9 inches tall by at least 6 inches wide. This one happens to be 9.5 by 6.5. That is going to give you plenty of page material for this project and some extra pages to put in your stash. So you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So all I have done, I'm going to put this aside, all I have done to go ahead of you or to get this started, because I had to let some glue dry, is I decided that I want to keep this first page spread so that up to the publication information, so that whoever in the future might inherit this book, you gift this book to somebody, they know what book it was made out of. In the altered book world, unlike the from scratch construction for junk journals, the altered book world likes to keep this information, and I agree with that 100%. So then the next thing I did is I skipped the 2 title pages for now. This will probably have something put on it, like a book plate or what have you. I don't know. I skipped the first 2 pages of this book because they were talking about abortion clinics. And then I realized this is a James Patterson book. It's my book, so, I don't want that on there, but this is the book I'm using. So I glue 2, I remove 2, and I glue 2. That's what I did. So I got rid of the pages where I didn't want the abortion clinic. It was just too graphic. So I glued 2, I removed 2, and then I glued 2. This is almost a 500-page book of the story itself, not including title pages and copyright and acknowledgement and all that stuff that you see in the front and the back of the book. So, because it's almost 500 pages, I split it up into 4 sections. One where I found the chapter beginning closest to the 100-page mark. And then the chapter beginning closest to the 200-page mark, which also happens to be a section in this book. And then also the 300-page mark, and finally the 400-page mark. That gives me 4 equal sections of, give or take, 101, 102 pages. Plus it gives me to the end of the book, which if this is page 405 and it has 491, then there's math involved. Anyway, we don't do math if we don't have to. So, let's go back. We glued 2, we removed 2, we glued 2, and the reason is doubling up these pages are going to give us a very sturdy first pocket, which I will give you some options in a second. The next thing we're going to do is remove 5. So 1, 2, 3. Well, these are coming out relatively easy. 4, well, make a liar out of me, 5. And this is not a very well-read book, meaning it's still in very good condition. So the pages are a little sticky sometimes. Now you can see we have a 5-page gap, and all we're going to do is glue 2 pages together just like what we did before. So I am trying out new glue. This is Scotch Create. It's multi-purpose glue. It's permanent, photo safe. Yeah, this was recommended by a creator. I'm not going to call her out, but she swears by it, so I'm going to give it a shot. So we're gonna, where are we at? There's our remove 5. Okay, we're on glue 2. So all I'm gonna do is exactly that. I'm gonna go down the side and make sure that there's good glue on the side. I'm gonna go up the spine. And one thing you need to know about glue stick is if you don't get every, if you don't either overlap your strokes or hold it up to the light and make sure there was one that didn't get glue, make sure you've gotten glue all the way on the page without gaps, you're going to have an air bubble. Okay, that's just the way it goes. So now I'm going to put this paper down. I'm going to actually square this up a little bit, and got my handy dandy plastic card and just do one of these numbers so that it's squared up and squished down, and then I'm going to go from this direction as well. Now I just put a wrinkle in it, so let me smooth that out. Maybe I'll go from the bottom to the top. Alright, and I want to make sure that I hit my edges pretty good. You can sometimes, you know, go in a diagonal motion. So there's 2 we've glued together. And we're going to remove 2. Now, all these extra pages are going to be book page for whatever projects that we do in the future, including we use book pages in the dyeing part. All right, so we've removed 2. Now we're going to glue 2. And, well, you know what? Yeah, we're going to glue 2. So again, we're going to go down the spine, across the top, down the side, and I'm putting a fair amount of pressure on this, and down the bottom, because I want to, you know, I want good glue contact. And then over the middle of the page, I'm glad I'm trying out this glue, because I really would not want to double glue this whole project. Alright, so here's our previous page. Tip it up, square it up, and smooth it down. And hopefully we will have no air bubbles. I would only do these glue 2, tear 2 sections. I would only do 2 or 3 at a time, and then I would close my book and, you know, let the pages settle. You're going to do, I'm going to show you 5 different pockets for this, for one of these sections. So you're going to do at least 5 of these double glued pages. If you end up, you're nowhere near, you know, the end of your 100-page section and you have a whole bunch of, you know, just regular loose pages, don't worry about it, because each one of these divisions is going to make a new section that is similar to what we're doing on Sundays. We've got all of our first section ripped. I went past my 100-page mark. I ended up with maybe 140, 145 separate pages after doing the glue 2, remove 2, glue 2, remove 5, repeating that step. I ended up with 10 double pages, the glue 2, and we're going to glue 2 of those together to make 5 pockets. And the 5th one, I'm going to leave up to you. Whichever one of these you think is most useful, repeat that one, or just leave those 2 pages for another time. So now you're going to watch me glue a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to speed it up. Here we go with the first fold. This is a triangular pocket. And because these pages are double glued, they're going to be stiffer than just regular paper. You need to burnish your creases. And I am using the Beacon Glue 3-in-1 for this because I want it to dry fast and I don't want any ripples. You can certainly use PVA glue, white glue, for this part. You could use it to glue the pages together back in the setup steps. That was pocket 1. But keeping in mind, it's going to slow your process down. You're going to have to wait, do a couple of sections, and then wait until it dries because it will ripple your paper. Full disclosure, this side pocket I got out of order. Should have been, according to, that's pocket number 2, it should have been pocket number 3 in the order that's written down. Doesn't matter. You just want examples of these 4 pockets, and then the last pocket is your choice. If you want things that slide in from the top, make an extra top loader. If you like that accordion fold, or not accordion fold, sorry, if you like that triangular pocket, then do that. Whichever one on your last one, you certainly can choose whichever one you think you'll find the most use out of. And these 2 pages, this is number 4, you're only going to fold the page in 1/4 to 1/3 at the most. You have to be careful about your folding, and you can see I struggled there. This one I'm folding in a little further to show that you can do about 1/3. Don't fold in more than 1/3 because you are bumping up against the spine when you put things in and take them out. Again, glue on the top, glue on the bottom. You could even flip that over and make that a left-hand side-loading pocket if you wanted to. All right, so there are the 4 pockets examples, and you who are doing the altered book, even though you're starting later than the constructed book people, you have an advantage because you just learned a skill that they have not learned with book page pockets yet. So there we go. Here's our instructions again. The next thing you'll have to do a little work on is your color swatching, because the people who are doing the constructed junk master journal have already done this, or at least the lesson is up. So for your purposes, you don't have to glue pages together again in the book, but you do have to decide how you're going to put these pages in. Remember, these are swatching pages, and in the other book, we just made a signature where we had a sample of a book page, a sample of tracing paper, and then we have just regular copy paper to be able to write on. And in this instance, for demonstration purposes, we did ink blending, and then we did a stamp, and then wrote down what it was, and any notes, like for example, I should have put a note in here that on tracing paper, distress ink takes a little longer to dry, so there might be ink smearing. Well, you're going to do the same thing, but you're just going to have to work around not having signatures in this book that you've made yourself. So I figured out 2 different ways to do it. 3 inches by 8.5 or whatever it is paper. 3-inch, I glued it down the side, but before I did that, I took a 2-inch piece and just glued it on the back of this, about a 1/2 inch, so that I would be able to sample right off onto the book page. You need the writing space. Now, the second way you can do it is you can do the folio type like these are, but you're just going to eliminate the book page. So you're going to do a tracing paper and a folded 8.5 by 11. And in that instance, what you're going to do is just wrap it around your book page. You'll have to tack it down with glue, but you're just going to wrap it around. It's not going to add a lot of bulk, so you don't have to worry about ripping out pages if you don't want to. If you want to, you can rip out every other page if you're concerned about bulk. How many of these do you need to make? Whichever way you make them. Do 10 pages, but then leave, for the next part, leave all of your second section. So the next part is in the in your book, starts at around the 200s, maybe a little more, a little less. In the intro, you saw a list from the DIY playlist of the Master Journal episodes we've done so far. The ones where you've actually missed something that others are working on or are finished with is on February 20th, we did pockets, and on February 23rd, I did a supplemental Wednesday episode about color to get you thinking about color. So go back in your spare time and, do those 2 episodes so that you'll be almost all caught up. On March 13th, we will be doing paper dyeing, and on March 6th, we will be looking at how we can use our printer to be creative in our journals. Of the 2 of those episodes, the color episode is more important because we have dyeing and paper creation with the printer coming up. And so you can work on the pockets anytime you want to. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this helps you get caught up with those who are making a journal. If you want to make a journal from scratch like we are, and you don't mind being behind a week or 2, that's totally fine. It's totally up to you. I just wanted to give you an alternative if you wanted to stay relatively current with the rest of us. So, either way, Master Reference Journal from scratch or Master Reference Journal with a jump start from an altered book is fine. We're glad to have you, and shout out to the new subscribers. I appreciate it. Please remember to like, comment, and share just like you would on any other video. It helps us get exposure in the YouTube algorithm. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you and your comments and your questions. Until I see you again, God bless. Take care of yourself. I'll see you real soon.